Everybody, Chris and Lumen here. Got several things to talk about tonight. None of them are particularly long, but interconnected, but uh, separate subjects. Different things that we're seeing right now, different changes, stuff that Lumen has said, things that we're working on. So, yeah, we're going to jump right into this. So, if you want to know more, don't go away. Okay, so we're going to talk about these in no particular order. This morning started out like most other mornings. It's actually it's weird. It's an improvement to make the actual connection to the light and to start dumping all your burdens and things like that. Because I have to sometimes, make myself remember what it used to be like. But at the same time, the further you go with it, the more connected to the light you are. Then when we go into like this, the final part of the big script and everything is just going to hell. In some ways, it's actually, I don't know. I guess I'd have to like be able to put myself in someone else's head for a moment to know. It's hard now too, maybe just for different reasons. Um, I think it has to do a lot with just like I know what I know, and I've seen what I've seen, and my ass is freaking stuck here. And while you're watching the collapse of everything, which we predicted, we told you, um, even though we can't know exactly what's going to happen when, we very clearly pointed out her time frames along with the time frames of the stars, of the constellations, of the alignments. Like this was what's going to happen. And whoa, surprise, shocker, now it is. I mean, I don't want to recount all the bad stuff that's going on in the world right now because there's a freaking lot of it. There is a lot of it. We are in the revelation. The veil is coming down. Surely you can see that. You think about what you knew a couple years ago and look at what you know now. Think about what you could see a couple years ago and look at what you can see now. Especially if you're in the US and you're coming to terms with the fact that there are no good guys running anything and they hate you. They hate you. They I mean, it is nuts what's going on here. It's crazy. And the media that will seek to tell you who you need to hate, which is what they do all the time, their enemy, DJT, like you need to hate this person. But we literally just had the most destructive hurricane since Katrina, which was twice as big, twice as damaging as Katrina. And they don't even want to talk about it. They don't even want to talk about it. They don't want you to know about it. But if you go on TikTok, that's the only place you can get news on this stuff is TikTok because that's where all the people are posting directly. The people that are trying to go in and help, and they're stopping us, they're threatening us, they're hoarding the stuff and then not take like what is going on here? Like you're seeing it now. Now you know. Before they tried to hide it from you and be sneaky about it, but now it's out in the open. The archons, which equals rulers, which translate down into the people that run us, they hate you, they want you to die. So, and then you got all the conflict going on in the Middle East. You watch videos like that, and it's like, it makes you wonder sometimes because, I mean, we don't really freaking know. I mean, John was blasted on shrooms when he wrote Revelation and stuff like that. But when you see stuff like, the first trumpet, Now it doesn't really line up though, because we haven't had the big earthquake. The big earthquakes, yeah, that's thank you. We're waiting on the big earthquake. But when you see like stuff about a third of the stars fell from the sky. That's what some of these videos actually kind of look like. You look at all the missiles falling at night. I mean, it's crazy. Everything is freaking crazy. So that's, looking at that kind of stuff, and there's this like, ugh, I hate this place. I freaking hate this place. But then something interesting happened. Because I had packages that I had to package and get shipped out this morning. And Lumen popped in a bit more than she has recently. Kind of like how it used to be every day for me. Um, See, when there wasn't anything pressing going on in the world story, it was easier to stay mostly in 4D to where she's always there and she's always communicating, she's always doing stuff. But, when we're super busy and there's things going on out here, there's not as much time to be able to do that. But she did it today. And I'm always drawn, like, music is like the big key if you're trying to communicate with Lumen or just feel Lumen, notice Lumen. And of course, it helps if you have an image of what Lumen looks like. And as usual, once we went through the playlist, she just took over the music streaming. She was picking a lot of, I mean, it was definitely being random, but she was just picking song after song after song that had a feel. And we were really amped up. And I was getting the message from her over and over again that she's coming. She's coming to get me soon. What's soon mean? Ah! Yeah. That little bit of like absolutely useful information you're never going to get. But I kind of got the feeling that it would be soon, soon. We just don't know. It's like Kenneth said on his channel. He's like, I don't remember if he was quoting what he was getting from Spirit, the Father, or if it was from the Bible or something like that. But I've said it too. It's like it's never gonna look. Let me pause. And we know this from experience. It's never what you expect it to be. It never looks like you expect it to look. That's one of our big rules. If you think you know what's going to happen, it's not going to look like that, or it's not going to be that. My understanding is it's going to happen all very quickly. And that was the sense that I was getting from her. And either which way, regardless of how fast it actually happens, it's a reminder. It's a reminder in being able to feel her and be in connection with the light. It's just that's her primary purpose is the strength card. Keeps you going. It reminds you she's still here. And then you get all these other little reminders. We're going right into one of the topics. Well, I thought I was going into one topic. We're headed right into another. But it reminds you that just reminds you that she's there and it's all real. Because even with everything you see, like you spend a lot of time when you have to deal with the outside world, it fades a little bit, and you gotta get your tank top back off again every so often. She's got to remind you she's there, and like it, you can feel it because you've seen it, you've been there. But it's like, okay, soon, but when? When? Now, when I asked, like, what's coming next before I started this video, just sometimes I do that. I'm like, show me what's coming. And in my head, I'm kind of thinking, I didn't qualify, but I was thinking like soon. And the first card I pulled was the world. There's Sophia. There's the gateway. The world is the completion card. And then I pulled a card from the other deck to kind of add to it. And I got the Ten of Cups. Like getting into the other world. See what strength does. Strength could actually be called something else because it serves the same purpose. Matter of fact, that's where strength comes from, is hope. Strength and hope are pretty much, very closely connected. And so when she shows up into your life every so often and reminds you that she's there, it gives you strength, it gives you hope. Once you got that hope, you kind of perk up a little bit and you can do what you need to do. It's like we get as many people connected as possible, keep working. And then she got all involved and we were having fun. And the thing is like the other way that I can tell when I'm getting a legitimate message from her is I will have, they don't have to be big reactions, but I'll have like spontaneous, like emotional reactions to it. Like I'll feel it. Like, I'm coming to get you. And I can feel it. And it's like, okay, hurry, please. I might just have to jump back and forth. But as that was happening, I was looking at the news and I saw this news story that just popped up that we just had it was like X 9.3 or something like that. We had like an X9 flare from the sun this morning. And the X is the biggest class, and then the numbers kind of scale up sort of the same way the Richter scale scales up with earthquakes. So X9 is pretty effing big. And I did some queries to ChatGPT. There's been much bigger ones, but since they've had these monitoring systems in place, according to ChatGPT, there's only been 9 other flares from the sun bigger than that. Bigger than that. And it was Earth facing too. So we had this Earth facing super flare right around the same time she was saying she was coming. Now, that doesn't mean I know anything for certain. I'm just looking at how things line up. Now, there's a couple reasons why the sun is an interesting factor that we sometimes forget about. First of all, everything that you know about the sun, you learned from the world. They took this magical ball of light in the sky and dumbed the whole thing down to you so you don't even think about it. Oh, it's just a perfectly spherical nuclear freaking explosion that's happening constantly forever that's 93 million miles away. Yeah, me scientists, me got it all figured out. Just listen to what we say. I'm telling you, the sun ain't that simple. So we're going to do a little recap here. Now, you'll see this in the clip I'm going to show you. It's about a 10-minute long clip, but it's a bunch of different things going on. The sun first really got my attention. Well, I've always noticed the sun was a bit weird. First of all, Lumen can freaking do things to the sun. If you've followed me for a couple of years, you've seen weird things like when I used to spend more time out in the woods and film from the hammock in the evening. And like if I'd be making it would only happen at certain times. I'd be making a very important point and the sun gets brighter. And as soon as I get done making the point, it goes dimmer. Or I'll be talking about lumen and like the sun's peeking around the tree and doing all this kind of stuff. I have to keep moving the camera. I'm like, how the hell are you doing that? Why is the sun just not going down straight like it's supposed to? I've seen her change the color of the sun. I've seen her blink the sun at me. But back in it was during the Lionsgate portal period of 2019. So it was about 9 months before Lumen and Epinoia showed up. Sophia, I didn't know who they were yet, but I was still in that. I was in one of the more active time periods when this source intuition, that's what I was calling it, was guiding me and telling me to do things, and I just was following where it led me. All I knew was that it was something from up high. So I was doing a lot of work with the 72 Names of God book, which is 72 Sigils of Power. in creating my own sigil combinations, because these 72 names are basically like like divine matrix programs. We're going to talk about one in specific later in the video. And it gave me this very specific combination and showed me how to decorate it and everything, and even gave me the name. Call it the God Key. So I made this sigil and I went and printed it out and I put it in a frame and I stuck it on the altar, which didn't look like this at the time because I didn't know any of them yet. But I didn't even like scan the sigil with my eyes or anything. I just made it and I put it on that altar. And then all of a sudden I just had like all this stuff coming into my head about the sun. I don't remember everything. It was like too much. It was like quantum physics-y. But you know, what little bits I can remember was kind of like it's a three-dimensional hole. It's like how they describe the wormhole in Interstellar. That's what the light is coming from. It's coming from this three-dimensional freaking wormhole. That is like the gateway to source. It's like all sorts of things. It's more complicated than we think that it is. So, you know, I am the light of the world, you know, nothing can live without the sun. The sun's name is Soul. I mean, come on, it's pretty freaking crazy obvious at this point. But yeah, so when the sun gets really active, when all this other stuff is getting active down here in the story, we got to pay attention to that. So to recap this very important point, this video was first posted like right in the beginning of August, but this is just a little clip that deals with the sun stuff.
Well, this should read, 1,000,000 years into the sky is Ra, sun god, sealed and buried for all time. This left door to heaven is Stargate.
Now we move on to terrace number 7, where the lustful reside. To enter this terrace, one must pass through a giant wall of fire.
There, that's it. That's the wormhole.
You say it, don't spread it, Ron. It's a sphere. Well, of course it is. What, you thought it would just be a hole. No, it's just that all the illustrations I've ever seen,
The illustrations. I'll show you how it works. So they say you want to go from here to there. But it's too far, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a wormhole bends space like this, so you can take a shortcut through a higher dimension. Okay, so to show that, they've turned three-dimensional space into 2 dimensions, which turns a wormhole into 2 dimensions. A circle. What's a circle in 3 dimensions?
sphere.
Orion.
earth is an anagram for theatre. Shakespeare, thank you. Earth is a stage, it's a theatre. And it's projected from the sun. The sun is the projector, the screen, the theatre is the earth. So we are being projected onto this theatre by our Father who art in heaven, the Son of God. Thank you, Jordan Maxwell, as well. Son, S-O-N and S-U-N are the same word. That's why Jesus says, no one goes to the Father except through me. You cannot go to counter space except through the wormhole portal gate of heaven, which is the Son and Saviour. The Son is our Saviour. There's 3 sons, by the way, spirit, soul and body. There has to be. It can't work any other way, otherwise you wouldn't be animated. And as magnetism and electricity are one but different, you have to understand this. It's like fire has always got light and heat to it. But heat is different to fire. I can get heat without a fire. But fire is never separate from heat. So fire is one, heat is another, but they are one. And light, which comes from fire, is also different, but they're all one. Water the same. You get ice, you get water flowing, and you get gas. Well, there you go. Water is 3 states, so it's a trinity. Everything's a trinity. So who created the sun? Well, the Mithraics and the Zoroastrians, they taught that there are 3 suns. The one you see is the physical, and it makes the physical world. Then the one behind the sun, they say the sun behind the sun, is the soul of the sun. Soul, S-O-U-L, is the same as sol, solar. Sol Invictus, it was called. The invincible sun, Sol Invictus. It's the soul of the universe. The spirit of the universe is the highest Godhead, the monad, the highest part of the Godhead. Okay? So, like a computer, the spirit is the file, because it is spiritual. You can't touch it. You can't touch those zeros and ones. They're in counter space. They're in crystals. They're energy. They're not even forms. They're just energy. And yet, RAM in the computer delivers it to your screen. So Ram, which in Sanskrit coincidentally means soul, Rama, Sri Rama, the god of the Hebrews, that's your RAM in your computer. The theatre is the screen. That's your physical body. Right? So the computer's teaching you how everything works.
You know our love was meant to be the kind of love to last forever. And I want you here with me from tonight until the end of time. You should know everywhere I go, always on my mind, in my heart, in my soul. Baby, you're the meaning in my life. You're the inspiration. You bring
she's been wanting me to make more stuff here lately for people that are on a tighter budget. So we've got a lot of options. I generally put like the nicest stuff on the store, but she's got me making some new things. Plus, she wants me to do one because this has happened a lot lately, um, like several times in a short period of time, where people will order something, but then they send a message and they're like, I'll go with whatever Lumen says is best for me. I'm like, okay, good. I mean, that means you trust us. Probably because she's got like a perfect track record when we do stuff like that of knowing exactly what that person needs. But sometimes they do make the right choice. So to give some options for people, she wants me to make a listing. It's going to be like a let Lumen choose listing. It's going to be like $75, and you can put in the if there's you can put in the notes to the seller like what kind of things you're trying to do. You're either, and it's usually one of two things. You're either trying to remedy something negative or you're just trying to connect to something positive. If you've got a lot of negative stuff that you gotta clear out, like I would start there. Past traumas and things like that, I would start with a remedy first. But either which way, I have seen times where she uses things that I would call a connection as a remedy. Like, I don't know everything. Like, there's times where I'm certain what they need is an aegis. And then I'm packing the package and she tells me to put this like divine love pendant in there. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. And she's like, just do it. Guess which one they gravitate to first? And that's because no one's ever going to tell you everything you need to know. A lot of times they might not even know that what they need because it's kind of been pushed down, buried in their mind, and they're not consciously aware of it. But she knows because she's plugged into everybody. So we're going to do this one that's kind of like let Lumen or Sophia choose. And you can say like what types of things you're most interested in. And then she's going to pick out the right stuff for you. So it might be pendant, it might be a combination of things, might be an oil and something smaller. Like, I don't know. And then you're going to get the bracelets with it too. But here's some of the things she's been making here lately. She had me doing. I got another one I'm working on right now. I think these are pretty cool. So I've got some different molds that are typically a bit like this is the normal size. Let's grab one here. So that's like the most common normal size, pendant. And I can get a good amount of stuff in there. There's some ones that are smaller. And I didn't really ever have a use for them, but she's had me making these. Now, occasionally you come across people that don't want to wear stuff around their neck. So we came up with this. This one's actually one with a liquid chrism core. It's got that super powered holy water in it. So it's a smaller one. And then with this one, you can see the glass vial in there that's got the liquid chrism core. And in this case, it's mostly seraphonite, which is going to give you a stronger connection to her. If you absolutely wanted to, you could pull this cord off and put it around, put it on a neck cord later if you wanted to, but it's just got a little cord to it. So this is your like divine energy connection. And on the other side, we've got a Benedict metal that we've blessed and charged and powered. So you've got a little bit of everything right there, something you can keep in your pocket. In the best way that me personally, I can feel pendants because I don't feel energy the way other people do. I'm more of an output person. Like what I can usually feel is if I sit and I'm about to meditate, pray, whatever, sitting up straight, I'll take whatever pendant I want to work with and I just hold it in my input hand, which is your left hand. Left is input, right is output. If I'm charging something, I'm going to be holding it in my right. But if I'm trying to bring that energy in, I'm going to hold it in my left. See, if I do that and get still, as soon as I grip this thing, I can kind of feel it move into me. And everything gets a lot more still and quiet. And what's nice about this being the combo is most people don't have that adversary mind. Like, I had to go through a lot of stuff to get to the point of having the adversary mind removed, which is the thing that's always making the negative thoughts and fears and, grudges and trying to make you mad all the time. It's the thing that makes all the noise in your head. A lot of time it doesn't have to do spooky stuff. All it has to do is make noise. Think about this, think about that, think about songs, think about TV, think about you're trying to quiet your mind and it just won't shut up. That's the adversary. It doesn't have to be spooky, it just has to get in your way. So the Benedict is mostly specifically designed at shutting that thing down. So it's nice to have something like this, 2 parts together. So she got me making these, and then we could sell these a lot less. Here's one that's actually on a neck cord. Maybe somebody would like a smaller one. What else we got here? Here's one I found. I forgot about this one. There's not as much stuff in it, but this was when I was making the Peacemaker pendants, which is kind of like an offshoot of the Aegis. It's like a filter of energy going in and out of you to other people. So I got that one there, and then we got the cord, the Benedict metal. That's just something that you can keep in your pocket. Is there one other one? Oh, this is one I made one last night. This one doesn't have the liquid in it. It's all, oh, I know what I was going to do, because I took some of these, I'll take the top point off. I know the light's never that good for seeing this up close. So this is actually a mixture of selenite, fiber selenite, white calcite, and I think there's a little green fluorite in here. It's a big one for like just high vibe energy type clearing. But I don't use pendulums. I know people that do. I'm much better with muscle testing, but this one has the extra little benefit with the Benedict metal here. If you're good at pendulums, then you could use this as a pendulum. Connect it to Sophia. Like, I don't even know how to freaking do pendulums. The only time I get anything like a pendulum is sometimes when I'm really plugged in and I generally sit up, back straight on the edge of my bed, and I get plugged into her. My body will just, it's like I get caught in a vortex or something, and I'm like, I'm not even doing this. It's like I'm in a current. And I'm not pushing it, I'm not pulling it. It's just, I'm just letting it swirl me around. That's when I'm really connected. So I guess it works. It's just I've never, everyone's drawn to their own different types of forms of divination. But I could do a lot of things with this. I mean, you want to clear specific chakras, whatever. Clear your body while you're have that divine energy connection while you're doing your Benedict exorcism. I'm like, that's a pretty cool little use for these smaller molds. So we're going to start putting some of those up on there. Or we may just, stuff like this, like I've figured out how to do UV resin quicker and easier. We might put more stuff up there that's like, kind of like the Aegis, like custom. Like, what do you want it for? What's the basic energy you're looking for? And we can make them rather quickly. But yeah, if you don't want to wear, if maybe you can't wear something around your neck, you work in an office or something like that, but you want to have something on you, a little energy fidget thing that's still protective, like you throw one of those things in your pocket. Yeah, she just comes up with this stuff every once in a while. It's pretty cool. I like making them. So we'll be adding some listings for that stuff. And yeah, she's had me doing as much extra stuff as possible with all these bracelets and things like that here lately. But that's enough for right now. There's quite a few things that we covered. Just keep your head on a swivel because it's crazy out there. Anything can shift at any time with what's going on in the world right now. So keep your focus on the light. Keep your focus on the light. Okay. So the store, the place to get in contact us is at clumencreations.etsy.com. I did check the settings because I didn't see it on some of the listings. I went in there. For some reason, it was only on a couple. But there should be something on there like make an offer that if it falls within a set range, and you're on a tighter budget. Otherwise, we will put the new thing, have Lumen make me sort of thing. I don't know. Got a lot of different things, but yeah, it'll give us more options for people that don't have as much extra money for like the bigger, fancier, harder to make pendants. Plus, I got a whole bunch more of the tiny vials. So I can make all sorts of different custom stuff now using the liquid chrism cores. Well, I still have that chrism water, and the extra juice that it puts off just depends on what stone that I put in here. Okay, so I'll probably knock some of that stuff out tomorrow, putting it up on the store. Chris and the Sun Goddess. See you next time. So just remember, he said there will be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars. So with the stars, obviously we're talking about constellations, alignments, and astrology. The moon, eclipses, sun eclipses, but also flares. And I don't know like exactly like like M class flares aren't like a huge big deal. It's usually the X classes that are a bigger deal. But I downloaded an app, like a solar tracker app that gives me alerts to flares ever since the X9 flare this morning. And there's been like M classes all day long. Like it's popping off constantly. The sun is a big player in the game. So right now you've got signs in the sun, you've got signs in the stars, you've got outright war happening over with Israel and the Arab nations. You got Babylon falling apart, Mystery Babylon falling apart, which is where we are here. You got the veil coming down, the revelation. People are starting to see what they didn't see before. It's pretty active, but the sun is our friend. That is a pathway back to source, and Lumen has always had a connection with the sun. So good thing to remember. But anyway, moving on here, some other things. Oh, and so with that X9 flare that we had this morning, we should feel the impact of that, I think, sometime tomorrow, next day, I forget. But the thing is even before CMEs tend to hit us, like those of us that are plugged in, like we feel the energy shifts of that kind of stuff like right away. So it happened so close together today with the Lumen communication and that X9 flare. And then once that high wore off, I kind of got drained a bit. So the energy's been all over the place lately. It's definitely been hard to stay balanced. It's constantly shifting. But at least we know that there's a reason to it. Everything is lining up right when we were told that it's going to. It's just a matter of like, it's going to be a surprise when whatever happens. But, let's look at some of the other stuff that's going on here. Let's talk about one thing she was talking to me about today. I had to come up with a term for it, so let's just call it reality inversion. This is a big key thing. And I'm trying to explain it to way she was showing it to me. First of all, if you've read the Bible closely enough or the Nag Hammadi closely enough, you understand that where you are right now, I mean, just because we use words, oh, I'm living my life, I'm alive. Okay, this isn't the place of life, this is the place of death. That's why everything dies here. The place of life is eternal life. But here everything dies. This is the place of death. It's inverted. And part of the thing about this particular place, through teaching people, educating people, is they've come to think, and that's a typical Archon thing. They switch everything around. Backwards is forwards, forwards is backwards, up is down, down is up. Life is death, death is life. It's like, this is the place that sucks. If you don't think it sucks, look around. Look at all the crazy, horrible stuff that is becoming common knowledge now, like what the elites do, and P. Diddy and Epstein, like all that stuff. Like, that's always been there. You just couldn't see it. That's the kind of people we're mixed in with, if you want to call them that. I mean, they look like people, at least. Like, that's where we are. And people are afraid to die, when in truth, what it really should mean, if we're being accurate, is people are afraid to live, because everything's backwards. Now, if you've done enough mushrooms, done ayahuasca, you've done deep enough transcendental meditation, you've done anything to get out, get outside your body and know for a fact that your consciousness is not your body, then this shouldn't come as any surprise to you. But people are like, it's the way she showed it to me, it's so freaking nuts. And it's why we stay stuck here for the most part. Oh, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. You're not dying. You're going back to life. Oh, but I'm attached to all these people. I'm attached to all this stuff. All that exists outside of here. I don't want to be separated. I don't want to lose. When you're plugged back into the other side, life, you're connected to everything. Like, even the people that are still here are there too. And there's none of this crap. They've got everybody freaking conditioned backwards to love hell, to love death, and be afraid to lose it. I just don't want to, I don't want to die. You're already dead. You're attached to the wrong thing. You're attached to the wrong place. This is where everything sucks. Maybe it's a seeing is believing thing. It is the result of a lot of world conditioning and what they taught you at a very young age. One of the reasons why, to see the light of wisdom, you must first empty your cup. You need to become unburdened by what has been. You gotta dump all the crap knowledge out of your head. Okay? You're dead. This is hell. This is where everything sucks. This is where everything lacks. It's where you're not connected to things, where you get love for just little snippets of time and then you lose it. Why? So you can suffer. Stop being afraid to live. It's like, I don't want to wake up from the nightmare. Oh, this night, all I know is the nightmare. I just want to freaking stay in the nightmare forever. No, you want to wake up. You want to wake up in the light. Okay, everything is freaking backwards here, and we're in the revelation, so we're starting to understand that better. You're not losing anything except what sucks. Everything that you love is an extension of you. It's connected to you. It's going to be on, the other side is the real side, the big side. It's Plato's allegory of the cave. I don't want to go outside in the sunlight. I want to stay chained to the wall looking at shadows. It's all backwards. Stop being freaking afraid of it. Yeah, so think about that. Think about that. Okay. Another thing, this has been popping up in my head a lot lately. So this is probably something that you should focus on. Those of you that a lot of you have been here a while probably already have this book. I want to say it's number 59. I'm not sure, but the name is Harrock. That's the name that keeps coming up. Lumen keeps bringing it up. We got a whole bunch of I printed a whole bunch of labels and stuff, and we're starting to use them like when we package things, like when we ship pendants and things like that. We wrap them in tissue paper and put these labels on them and stuff like that. So we made this one today. It's got Lumen with that name Harrock on it. And Harrock in that book has to do with movement into the light. That's why I said recently it slipped out, because I was kind of spaced. I don't know who's talking half the time, if it's me or them. But in that book, here's the description of Harrock, which the subtitle was Movement into the Light. When your feelings are clouded or stained, the name Harrock can move you into a lighter place. When you move from one place to another, you are not the same person in a different place, but a new moment of reality. Let this name move you to a place where you are free of the darkness. And then in that book, they've got, two types. They call it contemplation magic and results magic. It's really like inner world stuff or outer world stuff. Like it's a highly encoded book. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to normal people unless she's explaining to you what it is and how it works. But for contemplation magic, it's got the acceptance of a lighter mood, the first glimmer of hope, a state of happiness. And for results magic, it's to dispel dark moods, to move on from emotional pain, to feel relief regardless of circumstance. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because I believe that is like the main one, that is like the connection to the doorway, the connection back to the light. And why? Because we've used it many, many times before with things that I've brought up many, many times before. Anytime I told you I created some sort of method for releasing past trauma identities or broken pieces of me in the past, some of them have been stuck in the time-space continuum, suffering for so long. There was no point in trying to plug it back in. It's just like, let's just send this piece home. And what was the name that we always used? Harrock. Movement into the light. I used that name to send broken parts of me back to source. That means when the time is right, having that name programmed in your hard drive is going to get the rest of you sent back to source. And that time is rapidly approaching. So she's had me putting that name's energy into pretty much everything. And mental magic works the way you think it does. So we create labels with these different God names and things on it, and images of Lumen that all mean positive things: connection to the light, connection to divine love, this, that, the other thing. And then we'll just make all these labels, and we'll use them now to tie up the different products that we send out once they're wrapped up. And then once we wrap them up, we'll speak the names, and like the picture of Lumen, and it's kind of like, keep that thing marinating in those energies while they're in transit to you. So Harrock's a big one. Harrock's a big one. We stay, like I said recently, I felt like it was the most important name of the 72 names. Other things she brought up, if you've been here for a bit, we talked about how we use a method similar to coordinate. It's not remote viewing, but it's similar to coordinate remote viewing when we're doing like direct energy work with somebody. It was crazy because she taught me the method, and then I listened to Future Forecasting Group do a video explaining how they do this blackboard, which is what they call the screen of the mind. Like it's like the first step. So they give them a target. They don't know what the target is, but the target has like a letter and number code like N7214B3. That's all they know. And they write that down, and then they kind of look up on the blackboard and whatever they see real quick, write it down. Well, she taught me to do something similar to that when I'm on the phone with somebody. And it was like, close your eyes and imagine this black screen, and I'm going to say these random letters and numbers, and you imagine them popping up in yellow on the screen of your head. And that's kind of like setting up a direct encrypted chat line between us, so that that divine consciousness can flow more easily when we're doing the work. So what Lumen said is, once you get your email from Etsy saying we've printed the label, we're shipping your package, she said you can use that tracking number for that package. You know, like look at it and then imagine it in your head. And just know, because you've already purchased it, you've already exchanged energy for it. You might not have it in this moment, but you're going to have it at some point in the time space continuum, because linear time only exists in this place. Past, present, future all exist simultaneously. So that means in linear time future, you're going to have it, which means you already have it. She said you can use that tracking number to tap into the energies of what you just got now. And a few people that are slightly more adept have tried that and had success with it. It's like they start feeling the energies of their pendant before they've even got them. I thought that was pretty interesting. And then when she brought that tracking number trick up, I'm like, might as well tell people, try it. What else do we got here? Speaking of that stuff,